Welcome to Ben Snap and Chat, the podcast where we talk about what happens when life doesn't go according to plan.
I'm Cristie.
And I'm Drake.
And around here, we believe that even when life bends us, it doesn't mean we're broken.
Let's get into it.
All right. Well, welcome to today's episode. We're going to do something a little bit different. Usually, as the former perfectionist A-type personality, I usually like to have a full episode guide to kind of guide us where we're going to go. Today, Drake and I decided, we had some interesting things happen this week, and we wanted to maybe share how that impacted us and some of the things that came to light, especially around our energy and our vibrations and how different people can impact it, and also how we're impacted by other people, not just our own energy. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, and I was just going to say, Christie's flying by the seat of her pants. That's what she's doing right now. She's trying to explain what we're trying to figure out before we put on the record button.
Right.
And yeah, but no, I agree. I think there's been a lot of things happening. Weirdly enough, I have that fortune teller on YouTube telling my life story in front of millions of people, there's a new one, by the way, and it's even more.
No way.
Yeah, she started it out by, she said, there's something about a voice. She said, you're a singer.
No.
Oh, yes, she did. And then she smack talked my mother the whole week. with rightfully so.
That's hilarious. Wow.
So, yeah.
Because the other one that you sent to me, I didn't think it could get more specific to you. More specific. Wow.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
it's
definitely
actually
send it
entertaining.
To me.
It's so much my life story. I could take her readings and put them in a DVD and say, this is what went on in my life the past month.
Wow.
You've seen them.
I mean,
the
ones that I've watched, I was like, oh my goodness, how can they be more accurate than that? They're very...
Well, I think what's happening in the world, here's my take, and then you can have the floor. And I said I was too tired and I wasn't going to talk. But then when the record button comes on, you know what somebody accused me of? You know what somebody accused me of this week? So
what?
I said I was gay this week. Okay, can we go there for a little while?
Let's go there. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted to, but let's do that.
Okay, so I'm not even sure if I'm gay, because this week I spent most of it talking to my wife. So I think I'm bisexual. So I need to come out again. I forgot about all this other stuff.
People are probably what?
I'm somewhere mixed. Oh, no, I told a lot of people that I was married. Most of the people in my life know that I was married before. I've said it in interviews upon occasion, when we've talked about homosexuality and coming out and all this stuff. But, this week's been interesting. So I don't identify with the word queer. And if somebody else, I've been around in media doing my thing for 15 years. And I've always used the LGBTQ acronym because I think that there's space for everybody.
Yes.
However, I am one of the elders. I am not a fucking boomer, by the way. I'm Generation fucking X, proudly. And
you don't fuck around with
one of the people that spent time innovating so these little monsters can get on their soapbox and scream at me and call me a boomer. They don't even know what they're fucking talking about.
They really don't.
So my analogy with all this stuff is the disrespectful little bitches are, while they're on their soapbox screaming about absolutely everything.
Yeah.
I was over there in a bush, trying to figure out who I was sexually 30 years ago.
Yeah, and you paved the road.
Yeah. Now, my fucking problem with all this stuff is that YouTube's probably going to ban us. I said fuck within the first
the first 2 minutes.
Yeah. Anyway, who cares? I don't care anymore. So anyway, I really feel like gay men our age have really taken the brunt of a lot and then suffered through the AIDS crisis and lost half of our families.
Yeah.
And I really don't think that gay men get the credit right now in our community that they deserve. And I think a lot of people that are older are suffering from loneliness, ageism, and frustration that the spaces that we created are being taken up by some very loud people with big mouths that don't necessarily share the same views I do because they're different people.
See, the
So
thing is, it's okay to have different opinions, but when
it's not even
coming
opinion. I'm a different person. Like
exactly.
they accuse me of my masculinity. I'm like, fuck off. There's nothing wrong with masculinity. There's
Because
nothing.
you're a gay man,
I'm a
that
man.
is masculine. Okay.
And genes, like they're mad at masculinity. It's like, well, you're just cisgendered butch masculine. Look at you, you're trying to show off. And that's the other thing, the show off thing. Somebody
Mm.
called me a show off, and I'm like, well, fuck yeah. What are you
Right.
talking about? Like, I'm a goddamn artist. What
Yes.
do you think I want? Am
Right.
I going to crawl under a rock and hope nobody sees or listens? I mean, these people are really dumb.
And
Like, they
this is all
just,
coming from your community or this community, the
of
LGBT.
course, because the community is fucking toxic. The
Well, see, because
community,
I always
there's a
just
lot of
assumed.
good people in the community.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start there
Yeah.
before anybody goes, oh, he's
Yeah.
smashing the community. There's a lot of good people that do a lot of good things. I'm one of them. And but there's also these people that are just lurking in the shadows like a bunch of goddamn little trolls
Hmm.
that are just waiting for you to say something, and they just don't even take 5 seconds to
Hmm.
consider the fact that that word contains trauma for me.
And for a lot of people probably in your generation as
Some,
well.
well, my general consensus on my Facebook page was about 90% positive. There was this influx, though, of 10% of trolls that were just absolutely out of line, completely disrespectful. One guy said, oh, you're just doing this to make money. And I'm like, fuck off. I don't make any goddamn money on.
Exactly.
I think last month it was $2.24. So if you think that's money,
Yeah.
then I guess I'm making money. But the thing, because I don't work Facebook that much, because I don't
Yeah.
like media enough to be there. I'll be
It's
honest,
exhausting
it's
too.
awful. So I was really frustrated with this week, but it really defined me. It defined me in a huge way. And I had this massive shift. And I'm like, you know what? Stop pandering to people. Stop
Yep.
trying to make everybody fucking happy. Say who you are.
Yeah.
Sit on your own little stool and say your piece. And the people that are watching and listening that are positive and like what you're saying will listen. And to me, the rest can fuck off. I had a friend, well, I'll call him a friend.
Okay.
Somebody
An
that
acquaintance.
no.
No,
Somebody
he
that
was actually a
started out
friend.
hot and heavy, of course, like it usually happens. And he
Okay.
texted me all the time, like every day for a while. We became really, really good friends. And then all of a sudden, he's one of these people. He's a flake. And what he
Mm.
does is he starts to drift off and
To the
less and
next
less
shiny
text
new
and
thing.
less until there's 2 times that he would contact me
Okay.
when I was creating some type of controversy on Facebook or I was getting some kind of attention from somebody.
Okay.
Then I would hear from him.
But
And
that's
it's
the toxic cycle.
then it started to become that. So the
Yeah.
other day I said, when he started, he's like, he texted me personally and
Oh,
said,
okay.
oh, I just started to write something on your Facebook about your queer post. And I'm like, my number one rule in
Mm.
my personal periphery is if you have my fucking phone number,
Yeah.
don't challenge me about my Facebook posts. They're not up for fucking discussion. It's not up
Eh,
for discussion. And I told him, I said, I've had enough of you. I said,
yeah.
taking advantage. I said, and texting me when you feel like it. And this friendship is fair weathered and it's only coming when you want it. I said,
Yeah.
I'm done. And I think even before I even got the I'm done out, I blocked him everywhere because I no longer can take that kind of person.
Well, there's these like energy vampires that they feed on that toxicity that like
It's
there's
really
also a
sad
lot
that
of there is, and there's also I think since like 2020, I don't know, things since the pandemic, people just want to be like keyboard warriors. And would they actually say that to your face, some of the things
no,
that I've seen?
no,
Exactly.
no, they wouldn't because they'd be too afraid.
Exactly.
Because I am from the other side of the tracks, right? I
Literally.
literally am.
Yeah.
I am from the other, and I had to I started to fight my way through eventually. I mean, I didn't for the first 15 years of my life, but I started. And, it was rough growing up. And I've already had enough. I don't need people in my own community not to shit all over me and not understand my point of view when I say I don't like a word. I don't like a word. It's not an adjective that I use to describe myself. Something queer to me, my father used that word a lot. And then
Yeah.
the people who are perpetrating violence against me every day at school use that word a lot. And
Okay.
that word is attached to severe CPTSD. And I've got
Yeah.
these fuckers on Facebook calling me fucking names all over again because they do not have the cognitive ability to be able to understand this. And the fact that
Yeah. Yeah.
this guy,
Is he in your age group? Sorry to cut you off.
yes, he is. Yeah.
Okay, so he's not like this younger
No,
ageist
no, no. He's just
generation.
hierarchical and obviously and on a soapbox, and how disappointing. And if he's listening, I want him to know. I want him to know how grossly disappointed I am. And it's not even anger anymore. It's like
Yeah.
how
It gets to that
fucking
point, right?
sad. How
Yeah.
sad. And I'm sad about that stuff. I'm sad about the people that I've had to cut out of my life.
It so explain something to me, because I understand, like, toxic masculinity when it comes in a straight form, like men and women in
Hmm.
the patriarch and all that. And I've since you introduced me to DILF Mansion, I've started to understand a little bit maybe more about the dynamics in some gay relationships. But what is it like, why do they want to stop you, like people like you that are masculine presenting, that are gay? Why do they want to suppress that? Why do they want to push that label of queer
Hmm.
onto you versus just saying, like, okay, that's how he identifies,
Right.
and just let that go? Like, who
Well, because
cares?
they don't, first of all, they whitewash everything.
Okay,
They
yeah, I
don't want
understand
to be
that.
the way they don't want to be whitewashed themselves. And this is the
Yes.
problem with that generation. That's the problem that I have with them. I don't give a shit about what you want to call yourself or what you want to look like or what color your hair is or whether you put piercings in or have tattoos, or I don't give a shit. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care whether you want to cut it off or you want to
Yeah.
add something to it. It doesn't matter to me. Be happy.
Yeah.
But do not disrespect our generation of men that have suffered this, along with the lesbians, because they were there for us
Yeah.
too.
I was actually just gonna
There's a massive story, and there's a lot of trans people back then too.
there were.
There was a lot of trans people that were. So the problem that you're asking me a question about what they call heteronormity.
Yes. Okay.
So people think that because of who I genuinely am,
Yeah.
that I'm trying to pander to being heteronormative and be MAGA.
Because you're
As fucking shocking as that is,
because
they
it's seen
associate
as so opposite.
it
Like,
is
if
just absolutely an ideology that's on its ass because of stupidity is what it is. And
s
I'll never in my fucking life back down from anybody. And some people I didn't even respond to, but one guy did, like,
yeah.
call me a pile of names, and it was just exemplary of how our community is sometimes. And all I said to him was, "You have a dog for your profile pic." I said, and that's really appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. Because what are we actually talking about now? Like, if you can't even show up as your authentic, real, whatever self, but
Yeah.
then can turn around and point fingers at someone
Yeah. No,
else.
absolutely. And then talking to my wife this week, like reuniting with her after 26 years of
Yeah.
silence,
Yeah.
has made me realize, like, I'm not always gay. Like, I'm a bit bisexual. We are all such a spectrum.
Yeah.
It's very hard to categorize things sometimes. And I understand people who have this gender variance where they feel like different things. I totally
Yes.
get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm
But
not
we don't
saying
have to just be one thing, and we can
no.
also be two things that
Right.
seem to be opposing.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a big concept that a
No.
lot of people don't understand.
I've lived as a
That
gay man for the past 19 years, 20, actually since I was 26. So
Yeah.
what's that? 30 years.
Yeah.
So, I haven't been with a woman since my wife. We had a really special relationship, obviously a special relationship that outlived all of the problems that we had, because we had massive problems with my mother.
Yeah.
So there was major issues that I'm not going to go into, but our
No.
marriage didn't have a chance. Even if I hadn't have been gay, it didn't have a chance. So it's interesting that since I've removed another antagonist from my life,
Yeah.
um, this relationship was able to come like 360.
And isn't that like,
We
I
met
know
when I
this
was six.
week there was a lot that came up and there was a
Oh,
lot of emotions and a lot
yeah.
of
Oh
processing,
my
and it's
God, it was so.
exhausting.
I
It
was
is.
16 when I had CPTSD and a few other mental afflictions that we'll talk about later on,
Yeah.
from trauma at home and
Eh,
trauma at school. It was
yeah.
bad. Why do you think I react to this word like I do? I'm not a spastic,
Exactly. There's deep
insane.
trauma
I'm not
associated with
suffering
it.
from insanity here.
No. No.
I have trauma,
Of
and
course.
it's valid. And whether somebody calls me a princess and says, "Oh, you're just trying to look good and we're sick of you and you're nothing," and all these invalidities, it's like, oh my God. And then you get people who you think your friends are
Uh,
coming at you in a weird way, because they're kind of wanting to put a little bit of a dig at you, because they're
yeah.
trying to figure out whether you're their version of what they think you are, which might be
That's
something that,
key. What
yeah,
you just
I know,
said
no, no, I
there,
know. I know when he
it's the
texted me,
projection.
yeah, he was poking at me to figure out who the fuck I was. And I'm like, if you don't know who I am by now, then we shouldn't be friends. And that's
I
why that's
mean,
why I cut the relationship off. I'm like, I don't want an explanation. I want some peace in my life. So stop torturing me when I put a post on Facebook. I'm a public figure. Fuck off.
it's
That's how I felt.
exhausting.
That's how I felt. It's exhausting. Yes, it's exhausting. And with my family, it's been exhausting. But talking to my wife, it's given me this clarity.
Yeah.
We were together. Met her when I was 16 years old, and we were together till I was 26.
Which
And we had like, we've been kicking it on the phone, right, for like
which I
two
love.
4 hours, and 6 hours has gone
Yeah.
by, and she's been really great, and she's a super nice person. She's one of the people that I love the most in my life, and I realize that now. And that love is different now. Now we're going
Yeah.
to be, now I think our relationship is going to be what it was probably meant to
Meant
be.
to be. Which,
Yeah.
oh, I just got goosebumps.
which is
Like when you
which
were
is not
talking,
without my mother in the middle of us, because there was
eh,
this constant battle that never ended, and my mother was vicious, by the way,
yeah.
and really
Eh,
gave her a hard time, and it was not good. And then my mother, you want to talk about toxic masculinity? I mean, there was problems with me and my mother. My mother had an immense control over me. There was almost
yeah.
like a Munchausen by proxy thing going on between my mother and I, and
Yeah.
she made me very codependent, and even to the point where, I didn't talk to my wife for 26 years. I hate saying ex.
That
It's such a fucking
I
terrible word.
know. Just
And
yeah,
if
just call her your
anybody's
wife.
wondering, yes, we did legally separate and divorce,
And you're
and
legally married to Michael and have been for the
yeah, and
last
I'm
20
legally married to
years, you
Michael.
know?
But the thing is I don't like saying ex, because it's a nasty word, because everything we hashed through this week together after all this time
Yeah.
has negated anything that would make me want to call her an ex.
Uh,
My
it's
dad
interesting.
my dad met her in Walmart. I'm really happy about
Oh,
this. She told
really?
me a story. Yeah, my dad, before he got really sick and died, of course,
Yeah.
with dementia just recently, not that long ago, a few years.
Yeah.
My dad seen her coming in Walmart, and I guess he screamed over. Like, my dad was like this, okay? So he screams over
Okay.
in the middle of the store, daughter-in-law, daughter-in-law, come over, come over. And he came over and he gave her a great
Oh.
big hug, and he said, "You're my one and only daughter-in-law." He said, "I'll never have another
Oh.
one, And he gave her a hug
That's
and told her, I think he told her
beautiful.
that he loved her and stuff like that. And,
Oh.
she really loved my dad, I think, or it was my mother. That was the problem.
Yeah.
And that's as far as I want to go with it today.
For
Because
sure. We don't need to dig into those details.
the stories I could tell.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
we don't need to go there
Yeah. Let's
right
not.
now.
No.
It's still very, like,
Oh, yeah.
new that you're processing some of
Yeah.
this stuff that's
Yeah.
come back up,
And her and
but
Michael are texting. So do you know what it's
that's
like to
awesome.
have your wife from like 1987, 80, 89. Well, I think we
Yeah.
were married in 90.
Oh, wow,
Um,
okay.
Texting with your husband of 20, almost, 20 years. It's really
It's
surreal.
probably
And
really surreal, yeah.
I'm really grateful. I'm a really grateful person. Being a public figure is really tough, and there's a lot of frustration that comes with that.
Yeah.
And that what I'm learning to navigate right now, especially now, is the fact that I have to protect myself from people that are
Mm.
willing to be antagonists in my personal space.
Yeah. We
And
we really have to be aware of that.
you were the one that was always talking about boundaries. And I've
Yes.
told you this, that this is the one thing that I'm always preaching to you about stuff and supplements and
Yep.
treadmills and here,
Yep.
do this and do that exercise and
Yeah.
get off the couch. And
Do the bridge,
but
do the
me,
yeah.
I'm like,
You need the help
with
with the
you,
boundaries.
I need the kick in the ass about that. Yeah. And I think watching you,
Yeah.
um, I I thought I better do the same thing because I
Aw.
had a lot of people around me that were sucking my energy.
Yeah.
Now I did remove some of my family members
Yep.
from my, and sometimes I said things and I was never perfect. Just so you know, I'm human.
Nobody is.
No.
And if
And
they say it, it's not true.
I've done things over the years that I'm ashamed of. And I actually got to apologize for a few things with
Ugh.
her this week, which
It's
is,
so healing.
it's so good because I was
Yeah.
such an immature, like I was 20 and
But you were a kid.
I had CPTSD and a whole pile of other problems at that time.
But she knew that and she understood that.
Yeah, oh yeah. She's very, very good, like in understanding mental health and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One of the most open people in the world. She was always good like that. And it's nice now. We've got nothing but good things to say about each other. And whatever was there, um, before, like the shopping and the fun Christmases and all of
Yeah.
the things. I did her hair forever, of course, because
Oh, of course. Come
I had
on.
the shop was open back then.
Yeah.
We did so much fun stuff, and I have family that I developed with her that I'm still friends with on Facebook,
Yeah.
and I have been for years. And so it's really nice that she had the tenacity, by the way. She
Same.
was the one who reached out.
Which is amazing. Did
Yes.
she explain or say what triggered that now
I
of all
so
times?
we used to hang out with her Aunt Claudette, okay?
Okay.
And we used to go up to Shedicamp, which is at the northern part of the island. So it was a trip. It was a couple of
Yeah.
hours. And it's
Okay.
really cool up there, really little French village like this one, but it was on the sea.
Very cute.
So we
Okay.
would stay with them and play cards and games and
Yeah.
have food and stuff. Oh, it was great. And so I stayed friends with Claudette on Facebook for years. And there was a picture of Claudette the other day and she looked really good. And I said, oh, I put two little hot signs and a heart and something like that. And then I think
Okay.
she's seen it. I think she's seen it.
Oh,
And that's when I
okay.
got the text. And I was like, oh, thanks for reaching out. I said, I'm glad you had the strength to do it. I said, I was too afraid. And I just have to be
Yeah.
honest. She
Yeah.
asked me, she said, have you been honest with people? And I'm like, yeah, I've told everybody. I've told a lot of people about you. Michael knows a lot about her already
Yeah.
because
I
I,
mean,
I,
you've
I
told me
told
about
him
her.
all the good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so cool at the same time when you're booting people out of your life that you just know are, are
Draining you
toxic
are
to your
not the
mental
yeah.
health. They're
Yeah.
toxic to your mental health.
Yeah.
And
It
I don't
opens
know
up
whether
space.
he meant this or not to do this week, or he's really regretting what he did. But the flaky friendship thing, I just can't take. I'm
Ye
sorry. Like,
it
if I let you in and and here's the other thing that I'm kind of retired, right?
Yeah.
I do music and a few things that I like to do.
Yeah.
And other than that, my time is pretty much my own.
Exactly.
So with my friends that work, I don't text them until I hear from them. Like I'll
Okay.
text back when they text me.
Yeah.
But if they're working, because a lot of these people, and he worked a lot of hours and then he
Yeah.
would get home and want to spend time with his husband. And I just didn't know, I thought, okay, well, but
He
then when
has
the
his
whole,
life, you don't wanna
yeah, but then
interfere
when
or whatever.
it
Yeah.
went
I
from
get it.
every day saying hello and
Yeah.
having like a really intimate conversation about things and being vulnerable with this
Yeah.
person and it trails off, then I'm just like, well,
I think you and I are both, like, very empathetic people, and
even with,
we're able to have conversations that
yeah,
are deep and meaningful that not everybody can have.
No,
And I think that's heavy for a lot of people. And so maybe it was just too much having these like deep, real conversations.
I don't
Or it
know.
might just be like someone who isn't content in their own life and
I don't
just
know.
wanting to jump
I
on
no, I
the
think he really took offense to the post. I think he really took offense to my
really.
stance as saying I'm gay and I believe there's space for everybody, but this is who I am, and you need to like accept that because you need to accept people for who they are. That's the whole problem with the world right now. Nobody can accept anything or anybody for who they are. You
That
know, now we're not going to accept the crazies, of course. We need to build an
no,
island to put them on, and we know who
exactly.
we're talking about, right? So, but there's
we
like,
have we
like
have both of them we have.
I made a crack about pride, saying that oh, if you don't have a dress on, you're not getting on stage. And the reason why I said that wasn't an anti-trans crack, by the way. That was the
No.
fact that our community supports 99.9% drag on the stages at Pride and many other spaces too. And don't get me wrong, and I don't want to hear any shit about this. I love drag.
You
I
love
was
drag.
one of the
Exactly.
first people to embrace it when I did the video with Will and Belli many years ago. I was one of the first people to do that.
Which if you
And
haven't watched that video, you need to
oh,
Google
it's so
it.
funny.
It's
It's
amazing.
that was the best. That was the most fun ever going to LA and doing that. Um,
It's so
s-
good.
so you know, so I have nothing against anybody, but where are the spaces that are for you know for our elders to tell their
Yeah.
stories, so our generations that are coming after them are not going to forget. And the problem is when you forget
Yeah.
or you are not acknowledging the work that the people who have come before you
Yeah.
have done so you can have a voice and you're calling them names
Yeah.
that you're the one with the problem.
That's what I was just gonna say, it's a projection. What
It is.
wherever that projection is coming from, who knows? But it's 100% a projection
Yeah, oh
because
yeah.
you're not going there saying you shouldn't call yourself queer.
No,
If that word identifies and resonates with you,
fine.
then there's space.
I've been using
But
it.
it's also
LGBTQ,
really
LGBTQ recording artist,
yeah.
LGBTQ singer, LGBTQ everywhere. Go back and look.
Yeah. I think it's similar though, like, when you think of like, for me as an aging woman, it's also it's weird in terms of, like, the visibility, like, I look younger than I actually am, but there's a certain point, and it's maybe starting to change a little bit, where women that are older are now how do I word this so I don't so I don't offend anybody? There there gets to a certain point where women are just, like, unseen anymore,
Well,
and we become
look what happened with the what's her name?
are we talking about art?
Lisa LaFlamme on the
Oh,
news when she
Lisa
went gray.
yeah,
They fired her.
and it's just this, like, well, you're no longer you don't fit this, like, sexy young whatever reporter,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
then you're replaced by someone younger, and so when you talk about, like, where is the space for our elders, I think
It's a general problem, yes.
it's a general problem,
It's back
but I
to the
think
racism thing we were talking about.
historically,
Yeah.
for women, we have circles. And so I think that's something like for me that I think I was joking the other day, like I should start a coven. Like, but it's not
One of
just
my
about
friends would be a
spells
good
and rituals.
I think
It's,
my friend James would be into that.
but it's just a space, a safe, sacred space to share our stories and share it with the younger generations as well. Like it's I don't know, I've been thinking about that a lot because I don't wanna embarrass her, but, like, my little niece, she just started her period recently, and
How old?
I'm in the throes she's 11,
Ooh, yeah,
and
my sister, that happened to my sister. She got it really early.
that like, I was, like, 13 or 14 when I
Yeah, I
got
think
my
my sister
period,
was 10 or 11, yeah.
and so, like, now I'm in this weird, like, menopause phase and seeing this, and it's like I want to have those conversations with her that maybe was a little bit awkward with me and my mom, but like creating a space where girls and women can come together and we say the girls and the gays cuz like we're all I think very good at being able to have those deeper conversations, but maybe that's something that you or someone, like, maybe that's an initiative or a space that can happen for you guys in the LGBTQ community as
Yeah,
well,
exactly. Well, this is what
you
I
know?
think. I do. There are some prides that acknowledge the older generations and have events and things like that for sure.
Okay.
But I do think the visibility on the stages is
Yeah.
very biased against
Okay.
against older people. I do think that. I think that there's a because of how I don't see a lot of what they call as cisgendered gay male performers as much anymore that aren't that identify as gay and not queer.
Yeah.
So we need to look at these issues, and
Definitely
then what we have to do is make sure that the inclusion that we practice becomes
is
something that but the inclusion that we preach becomes something that we practice, rather,
exactly.
right? So you have a great point. Let's talk about women. um, yeah, men seem to look like well, as they say, and then women don't. But I have seen some men that don't age well. Just saying.
I think it's more like that whole, like, silver fox kinda idea
Right, but
where
that's kind of a little bit of that's a little bit of Prince Charming going on there, if you know what I mean.
it
Just a bit.
is.
Yeah,
It definitely
it's a real
is.
struggle to keep your looks as you age.
It really is, especially, like, eh, a lot of people that are trying to do it naturally without having the fillers and having
I haven't done
the
anything yet.
Botox
You
and
haven't done anything yet.
no, and I'm thankful for the EDS, 'cause I think the EDS, like I always
Yeah,
say,
no, it's
that's
true.
it helps our skin, like, we look much younger than we are, and when I see people that I went to high school with sometimes, not to throw anyone under the bush, but, like, I'm like, "Oh," like, I do see that I look
Younger.
younger.
Yeah.
But, like, with when it comes to women, there's always people that have something to say, like, I don't know if you've seen recently with Ariana Grande and, like, there's a lot of people that have a lot of opinions about her body, and some of it I think maybe is coming from a place of, like, concern for health,
Is she the
but
one
as a
that's
pub
really skinny?
yeah.
Oh my God, there's something wrong.
So but it's hard because, like, as a public figure, I can't imagine constantly
The
having
pressure?
people yeah,
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
it's because she also deals with apparently she also has, like, fibromyalgia, and she deals with, like, some
Oh, I hate
health
that word.
challenges as well.
Yeah, I know, I
Which
know. I hate that word because it was what they
oh, I
told
know,
me I
it's
had
like
for so
a
many years, and it's like, it's an excuse, it's a symptom, please give me a break. Um, but yeah, no, she's alarmingly, um, thin.
yeah, like, you can see her ribs and stuff, and it's I just hope for her sake that she has people around her that will advocate for her to be getting whatever help it is that she needs, whether it's like maybe she's just been going too hard and not giving her body a rest. Like maybe it's just that and she needs a bit of a break.
Yep, sorry,
I
we're
hear
getting
something going on over
that's a
there. Is
tornado warning.
oh my goodness, can we just tell them that we've been having so much rain and thunderstorms and like you lost power this morning.
Yeah, it's been
It's
wild this week.
been
It's
it,
wild.
yeah.
I feel like the world is like absolutely insane right now, and that's the other thing. That's all this like polarity is part of this.
See, like, we just had a really intense full moon where, like, today is the 8th when we're actually taping this, which is the
Right.
Lionsgate. So
Right.
there's lots of energies floating around which impact us. I think because, again, like, as people who are sensitive to energy, we take that on a lot.
Yep, we do. And that's what I'm feeling is I said this to a friend of mine that was agitated today. I said, you got to be careful. You have to be able
Yeah,
to decipher. There's a lot of theories about what's happening in the world right now
there are a
because
lot.
there's a festering of things right now.
Yeah.
And
And
there's
it
a
feels like it's
festering.
coming to the surface.
Oh,
A
it is, and it's
lot
coming.
of
It's
things.
whether you're going to go on vacation or you're going to go shopping and ignore it.
Yeah,
It's coming no matter what. It's
100%.
coming. So there's going to be a massive reset. I'm gonna stick by this. I said this 4 or 5 years ago. I had massive fights with friends of mine in segregated relationships because of Donald Trump because they voted for Trump. And then I have been able to,
Yeah,
and this is the kind of person that I am,
yeah,
I have been able to rectify now because I know those people at this point
yeah.
have become more level headed about it. And they understand that I had this argument with a friend of mine over 10 years ago.
Oh, wow, even before, okay, so,
Well,
like, before
when was his first
COVID,
term? When was his
before,
first? No, it was 7 years ago. It would be 7 or 8 years ago.
okay, so when it, oh, yeah,
His
okay,
first term.
yeah,
I
so
had this.
that was
I had a fight.
2019?
I had a fight with him then,
Yeah.
and I knew what was coming. It was like this inevitable doom that I could feel.
Oh,
And here we are in the middle of it all. And I'm gonna say that this massive reset's coming. This isn't gonna last forever because eventually the car is gonna run out of gas, and that's happening
yeah,
to the U.S. at the moment.
it really is.
It is. So once the car runs out of gas, that's going to be it. Because who's going to be caught with their pants down, and we're going to finally get to see that diaper.
But do we want to?
No, you want to talk about a misogynistic, horrific rapist? Like, you want to talk about women and disrespect? And I can't believe that women even work for that guy, that will
Oh,
even
I
be
it's
in the same
unbelievable.
room with that guy.
No, I couldn't.
No,
I
I
I
no,
wouldn't wanna live in that country, let
no,
alone work for
no.
him.
And I really feel bad for all of my really good friends that have to, you know.
But
So
his
that's
his mentality, the way he talks about women, the misogynistic, sexist, ugh,
oh no, it's
just
terrible. And and the thing is that he's so gross and so like he looks like I'll challenge everybody to go on, I think it's Netflix, and there was a series called Evil.
I've never seen that
So
one.
on this
Oh.
series, there's a boss, and he's the evil boss. And I challenge everybody. I've posted this on Facebook before, a
Oh, have
picture of
you?
this,
Mm,
and it looks just like him. I mean, it's so uncanny how much
yeah.
this creature looks like him. It gives me chill bumps on the back of my hairy spine.
Yeah.
It's really weird. And I knew all this was coming. But yeah, like the whole, let's get back to the women thing again.
Yeah.
The whole woman thing, and even in music and stuff like that. How many women, like, taken advantage of? Like, if you want to look at stuff like that, I mean, my God, we could be here forever. I mean,
I
just
know.
go listen to like Ann Wilson of Heart, and go listen to her story about when she got like bigger and what they were doing, and covering
It
her up and only showing her from the neck up and things like that. I mean, this has
it's
been going
honestly
on.
disgraceful, like, and
Oh,
but we've been living through this, like, women have been living through this forever, and so, another thing that happened to me this week, kinda on this whole thing, is so a friend of mine, I did a photo shoot a couple of years ago. I was at my highest weight. I've been struggling with my weight again now. I'm on weight loss meds. It's not working, blah, blah, blah. I had my moment of being frustrated. Like, why is this not working? And my friend John reposted some pictures that we had done. And it's a two-way gate. It's always a two-way gate, right? So, like, on the one hand, I looked at myself and I was like, "Damn, like,
mm-hmm.
I looked hot. I look
Uh-huh.
sexy, like,
Yeah.
I look good." And it was that reminder of, like, it doesn't matter about a number on a scale. Like, yes, I would like to lose weight. It's not necessarily because of how I look, it's more about how I feel and wanna be able to do more and move more, and with
Mobility.
EDS,
It's
that's
mobility.
complicated, right?
Yeah, it is.
But then the other side of it, which so the other side of it is that I then get an influx of messages
Mhm.
from men, and which you're like, "Well, you post that, like, you have to expect to get, like, some kind of response," and I appreciate the response,
Mhm.
but at the same time, there's this, like, line of, like, this is social media. It's not like I'm on a dating app trying to get dates with people. Like, I'm very happy being celibate and single right now. Like, I don't and so there's this entitlement, I think, that comes with men that
Oh,
is
no, it's not
like,
just it's not I think it's people in general or men. They do it to me too.
but is it different? Like, does that
No.
make you feel uncomfortable?
No. Because I do feel if I'm gonna put up a sexy picture, if I get somebody saying, "My God, you're hot," and I'd like to sleep with you, then that's the way society has become. So I then have to accept that. But okay, but then there's
But
another
I don't
line.
fit into that. Like,
The
I don't feel like that's me.
Right, right, right. But there's another line too where it gets really aggressive, and sometimes I'll get like videos of things, and it, it's
Wi
really like, you know, it's really inappropriate for a first time conversation,
Right?
and then you
But
feel
then
kind
there's
of,
also people that are like, they feel entitled to your time and they feel entitled to, like,
oh,
I've had people being like, "Oh, let's FaceTime and let's do this and let's
oh
do
yeah,
that." I'm
oh
like,
no, I know that's the way it is online right now. Like that's how it is.
"But how can I as a woman,
Yeah.
like, I think it's okay for me to embrace looking sexy
Yeah.
and sharing photos.
Okay.
Is there a way? Is it
So
like,
you don't
I
want
don't
people to tell you you're hot.
I don't mind people saying, "Oh, like, those are amazing photos," like,
Okay.
that part, I'm fine, but then when they keep going and pressing it, like, I'm on
Oh,
a dating app and they wanna talk to me, like, nonstop, like,
oh, so that
that's too
happens to
much for
you
me,
too.
it's
Yeah,
overwhelming to
no, no,
me.
no, it's overwhelming to me too. And there's only certain people that get closer to me after they do that because I get a vibe.
So do
So,
I.
yeah, I vibe either good or I vibe bad. And if I vibe good, sometimes they end up on my WhatsApp, and I've made some really good friends over the years, like some really good friends that I have had for a long time,
Yeah.
that have been faithful friends, and we've been there like even just through text. They've been there, like they've always contacted occasionally, and no matter what, always kind of kept up and
Yeah.
didn't talk about my opinions on anything or anything like that. We talked about us, and I still have those relationships with a lot of people.
Okay.
And I'm because we live up here by ourselves. I don't see
Yeah.
anybody. That's my
I
social
get
life.
yeah, it's
That's
a
my
social.
This is
I
my
get
social
that.
life. Oh, I love my friends online. So, and gay men are different that way.
Yeah.
And I do expect that if I do put a picture up in leather or some type of fetish or something like that, that I'm going to
Yeah.
get that. I do expect it, by the way. And then because somebody said to me one day, and it was a smack, it was a reality smack, and they're like, if
Yeah.
you put that on the internet, you have to
Expect.
understand there's a lot of people out there, number one, that are going to react like that and maybe even be more aggressive. And he had a
So then
point.
should I just not do that? Should I just not
If you're uncomfortable
share
with it, I wouldn't do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it because I don't know whether you've noticed or not, but I've stopped.
Yeah. I have.
Yeah.
See, it wasn't
So,
even me that actually shared those photos, it was the
John, yeah.
photographer that had
Oh, no,
it
and I
was a
think it's
post that
great.
I did
I
3
think the universe was trying to teach you a lesson that day. That's
I
my opinion.
and I think it was, like, that learn
Because
like,
you got
and
to,
how you say I'm good with boundaries, like, I
yes,
really had to be
because I think you
like,
got a couple
"Thank
of
you."
positive messages that said, "Oh my God, you're beautiful," and
Yeah.
I'm interested in you, or like nice messages. It's not all aggression and do you get dicks?
No, thank God. Because
I
if I
get
got one, I
oh,
honestly
I
I
get
would
dicks.
block and report, I
I get
think,
I
like,
get dicks all the time.
but is that
Oh,
different because 'cause you're
yeah, it's
gay
almost
and,
like it's
like,
acceptable. I'm gonna say that because who cares? We all might be blown up by a nuke in a couple of days. I'm gonna be honest about this. A lot of gay men are like little boys in a sandbox showing each other their penises.
their
Yes.
penis
So anyway, and that's you know what? And that's fucking okay. And that's why I say, when people say to me, "Oh, you're so conservative," I am the least
least.
conservative person in the world. You know
Yeah.
me. I
Yeah.
have easy bake ovens. I am not
Exactly. So say no more. See, I think also part of it too for me
yeah.
is, like, I do appreciate people commenting
Yeah, because I
and
think
saying that I'm looking.
didn't one of my friends send you a message or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a number of people that I got messages from,
I just don't want
and
him to think that you're talking about him, that's all, because I know you're not. I know you're talking about the other aggressive people that are
there's
really
other
pushy.
aggressive people that are, like, very, very pushy,
Yeah.
and, like, your friend, I had a nice conversation with him, and that was really
Oh, yeah, he's
n
if it's who I
yeah,
think if it's, who we're talking about, I'm not gonna say anything. He's a great guy.
yeah, and
You know,
I'm
and
no, I'm not talking about him, I'm
mm,
just there was other people
oh, no.
that, like, I've never really
No,
had any kind of communication
that you're
with
not supposed to. No,
that I
or in anybody in their periphery of you, right?
yeah. I
Yeah.
think the other thing too is, like, I think people and I'm gonna say, like, even recently, I saw a friend and spent time with her, and, like, socializing with people takes so much out of me,
I don't think
and
people
it's
realize.
hard. It's really hard because people see and I think people listen to us, I'm talking for an hour and we're going good, but, like,
Oh,
I
we have
have to
to
rest.
this is
I
like an
rest
orgasm, by the way. This is the
like,
orgasm, and everything we do to get here is tantric.
it
It's we
that's a
have
really good way to put it 'cause
it is.
it's a process, and I
It is.
think,
Yeah.
like,
Even for me.
mentally to even and you're a talker.
Yep.
Like, for me,
Yeah.
it's been a while since I've been able to have conversations. Like, I know when I say, like, I'm surprised I'm even at this point where we can do a podcast without, like, a whole episode guide and
Oh.
without, like,
Oh
being
god, yeah.
afraid of the brain fog.
Now it's like coffee and I wish I had a cigarette right now. I don't know
Right?
why. But anyway, yeah, I used to smoke a lot. Like my wife told we talked about this and
That's
how much I
hilarious.
used to smoke. Um, but
But
I think we need to go back to the pictures. So I'm at a point in my life where I've worked incredibly hard to do this, to get my body where it's at.
and you look phenomenal.
Thank you. It's getting there.
Yeah.
I got
I
another
you're
probably to get to this like ultimate fitness for 56 look, I
yeah,
need to like lose another 8 or 10 pounds. And that's fine. And I want to do it because it's going to
yeah,
be challenging and and then I was thinking the other day, I mean, what we're talking about right now, should I or shouldn't I? I
yeah.
wanted to get boudoir photos done. I wanted to
Ugh,
do some
you
boudoir photos.
should.
Yeah. And
It's the best thing I ever did.
but the thing is, and then I'm gonna wanna post them, but then I thought, well, I can give them to my subscribers and the people that are
Yeah,
really good, that really appreciate that stuff. Um, but I I used to post stuff like that because I'm a part of the leather community, and
yeah,
I've identified like that for a long time. And so I like posting that stuff, but again, it does bring this attention that takes away from the fact that I'm an artist and starts to subjectify me in a weird way,
yes.
like
It's a
objectify.
weird dynamic
It is,
because
and
and
then you're torn, right?
yeah, because I felt beautiful in those photos, and I, of course, am thrilled that people liked them
Oh, I
and,
have
like,
it. Wait
continue to
now.
like them.
So I
Like, that's
have,
a huge thing. I
so I
love
have a.
it.
Here's the solution to that. I never thought about this. So if you post it,
Yeah.
you can go into the little three dot thing and say only to friends, and that's it.
So then I won't necessarily be getting, like, randos who I'm not friends with
Right,
or have never
right.
met
Or who, yeah,
before
or who
or, like, have no
that you don't know
connection
that
with.
aren't, because those people can be scary to a girl. I get that.
It
That
can,
Yeah, no, I understand. And
and
for
especially what I've gone through with,
no, and I
like, in
think
abusive
yeah, and
relationships
I
and
think a
the
lot of
coercive I
people,
went through a lot.
they don't understand, and it's hard for them. And I think, you know, there are people that do understand, yes.
Yes.
For sure. And but I think if you do that, then you keep it in your, because if you have a public profile,
Yeah.
then you have to make that adjustment when you do make a post like that. And if you do that, then you can express yourself and you feel comfortable showing everybody your friends and stuff like that. That stuff. I mean, it
Because
is what it
it's
is. What I got this week, I opened myself up to a pile of criticism, and it's my own. I brought it on myself. I felt like I had to, and people are saying, "Oh, he brought it on himself." I think that's very true. And but I needed to express myself because I, I just need to say who I am.
And that's, I think, a beautiful thing to be able to stand up for yourself. And like, I did have to set boundaries with certain people and be like, I don't appreciate being talked to in that way. Or
Right.
like, like there's a line of respect that even though I'm doing this podcast and I've put myself out there with pictures or whatever, it's not I it's not because I'm necessarily wanting attraction from everyone, because 'cause I'm very happy being in my single girl era right now. But I think also it's an energy, right? Like, I think I did part of me, and you're right, in terms of, like, posting those pictures and getting that positive feedback
Yeah.
of being like, "You're beautiful regardless of what size you are."
Right.
And
Well,
it
they didn't. I don't think people even said that, did they? They just said, "Oh my God,
No.
no, they don't
No,
care."
no, no, it had
And
nothing to, but for me,
that was the universe, and I was so glad it was somebody that I was affiliated with that sent you one of those messages, because I I really
yes, he was very nice.
I really look at that as like the universe sending you a message, like an X. This is almost an X file thing, where the
Yeah.
universe is like, or the Z file thing, where the universe sends these messages when we need to hear them about validation. Because if you hate who you are right now,
Yeah.
nothing will change.
No, and it definitely shifted my perspective of like, yeah, things aren't working right now, but like I'm getting my hormones checked, and
Yeah.
like I bought a couple little cute outfits like
Yeah.
in my size, so when I go travel, I'm not feeling like, cuz I gave away when I it's only like the last 5 years that I've even been dealing with like weight fluctuations.
Yep.
And so when I had lost the weight, I gave away all of the clothes that were heavier. And so I think part of that frustration was like I didn't have anything that fit me and like made me feel good. And so like after that experience, it did shift me, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy like a couple cute little outfits
Yeah.
so I can feel sexy,
Yeah. Because
because
people
I
said,
like
"Oh my
my
God,
curvy body.
you're beautiful as you are." So
And
that's a big thing. So yeah, gotta remember. So for people
yeah,
like that really adore you and like looking at you, you gotta.
yeah,
It's nice to give them that and then get that feedback, because it's
yeah.
very positive.
It
Now,
is.
like
It's
I
this
call them
energy.
the dick dudes. I mean,
Yeah,
where they come on strong and that you don't know who they are, and
yeah,
that's kind of odd. Even as a gay guy, for me, who's kind of like, I'm a weird gay guy. I'm very demisexual, so I have
yeah.
to be emotionally attached to
That's
somebody
the other part for me
to
too.
be
I'm
able to
just
have
like
sex
you.
with them. Yeah, so
Yeah.
a lot of gay guys like to experience different people, and
Okay.
that's really good. Like, it's fine if you have a
Yeah.
healthy sex life and you experience different people, and everybody has
Yeah.
different needs, and
Yes.
sometimes different people fulfill different people's needs.
Exactly.
This is very complex human sexuality that most people,
Definitely.
again, we're trying to shove everybody in a box and say, well, you got to fit this,
Exactly.
you got to fit this, and you got to, if you're a woman, you got to do that, and if you
Right?
didn't have a kid, you can't,
Right?
right, and if now
Like
you got
I'm a
menopause, and
45-year-old woman
you're
without any kids, and like
you're like,
where is my place in society,
well, your place is where you decide it is.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's the
But
point.
a lot
And
of people struggle with that, I think.
oh, I did.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't think I did? Oh my God.
No, for
I
sure.
still, as a performer, it's really tough.
I can
So,
imagine.
oh my God, I took a 5 try happy birthday fucking thing today, where I was sending one of my really close friends. His husband is, it was his, it was his birthday. So he said, "Oh, I'll get him to sing me happy birthday." So I sang him happy birthday. But it
Yeah.
took me 5 tries. I was so paranoid and was trying to get it perfect. Like, I have to have everything.
Oh,
Like, I have to have everything perfect. I'm just one of those people. And it's like, it gets on my own nerves because I have such high expectations for myself.
it's hard, but then I think this also kinda comes full circle to when we're talking about the people that we do keep in our lives and the people that we do focus on. I don't know where it came from, but I've heard it a number of times that you're kinda like the equivalent of the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with.
Oh God,
And so
you're going to become a toxic masculine cisgendered boomer. That's what I
But
was
I
told this
think we
week.
there's a lot of things from you that I've learned that I like wanting more. Like I think watching you and Michael together has kind
Mhm,
of given me like when it's time and when I am ready to be in a relationship, like the dynamic that you guys have
mhm.
is very sweet. And
We have the best friend dynamic,
yeah,
and that's what got us through the past, like, it'll be 19 this coming March, I think, or 18, I can't remember. One or the other. Brain fog.
ugh,
But I think I was 36 when I met Michael, so it's gonna be almost 20 years.
which is amazing. We need to celebrate that.
Oh, yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Um, but I think above everything, like my mental health issues,
Yeah.
his autism,
Yeah.
and my ADHD,
Yeah.
we've done pretty well for ourselves.
You have.
We've had families that either didn't want to understand us or chose not to,
Yeah.
like just,
Flat
couldn't
out.
handle
Yeah.
what was happening and
Yeah.
ducked out. Fair weather family is what I call them. Fair weather flaky
Yeah.
family and fair weather flaky friends. There's been a lot of that. And I think if you continue to accept that in your life,
Yeah.
if you continue to accept people like that, because I had a narcissist in my life too for a few years,
Yeah.
that was
Same.
that was that was preying on me,
Yeah.
and I figured that
Same.
out too. Like, I'm sure he snoops too. He's another one.
Yeah.
Because I know he snoops because he did that while he was with me with all the other
Yeah.
people that he was with before he was with
Yeah.
us. That
It's a
kind of thing.
pattern
That
that
kind of
people
friend, if you know what I mean.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the fair weather one who fucks off when things get really
Yeah.
tough. But
Exactly.
the best thing ever is that I'm completely myself and probably more myself now than I've ever been since I
Yeah.
de-drugged myself with all that shit that the doctor was giving me, which was
Yeah.
toxic to my poor brain.
Yeah.
Once I
It
get rid of
really
when I get rid of that, new person. I showed you the picture last night. So
oh yeah.
what's your final 5 minutes? You got it. What do you want to talk about?
So I think when we were talking about you talking to your wife and reconnecting, it really reminded me of my high school sweetheart, Sid, who I was with him
He
from
was cute, yeah.
16. He is.
Mhm.
And we also went through a period, not 26 years, but we went through like almost a decade of not talking. And like you, I was still connected to his family. Like I was in all of his sister's weddings. I was so like we had this bond.
Yeah.
And he, after that 10 years, because I think we needed that decade to
Uh-huh.
kind of
Grow
like
up
become our own people
and grow up.
and
Yeah.
grow up.
Yeah.
But there's something so special and beautiful about having someone who has known you for as long as your wife has known you and how long Sid has known me, to
Mhm.
see the different versions, but also go back and maybe take some of those parts of ourselves from when I was 16. Like I have one of my favorite memories ever, and it's kind of twisted, but so
We
he
like
loved my
twisted here.
grandma.
We
I
like
right?
we like twisted here. I mean, not the kind of twisted, some of the twisted that I've seen
Yeah.
in your own family, not that kind of twisted, but the good kind of
It's
twisted is okay.
it's like a
Yeah.
dark,
Yeah,
but
I get it.
so he loved my grandma. My grandma was the best person ever. She passed away. I was with her when she was 18, when I was 18, and he was with me for the funeral. And I remember vividly, like, I kept it together. I was a pallbearer for my grandma. Like, I kept it together all day. And at night, so when I was 16 to 19 years old with him, if we ever had a sleepover, he slept downstairs and I slept in my room upstairs. Like there was no commingling at my parents' house. Like and so he had gone to the room to his bed and I just stayed downstairs and I just started crying. And he came out and he just held me like
Mm.
I've never felt that safe. And I don't know if I've ever felt that safe with anyone since that.
Oh. Oh.
But
Is he still single?
he was with someone, he broke up with them. He listens to
Is he
this,
single
so
now?
yeah.
He's single. He listens? Oh.
So, like, but he's a very special person in my life, and I'm really happy for you that you reconnected with your wife, because I think that there's a lot of beauty in that, in reconnecting and healing. Like, we spent a lot of time talking and forgiving each other for some of the stuff that happened, and
You guys did?
we did after that
Yeah.
decade
Yeah.
of not talking.
Yeah.
And, like, he's someone that knows me in a way that most people don't, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. There's been like, for me, there's been a return through the healing and the combating or accepting the mental illness and then working on
Yeah.
it and trying to figure it out, and first trying to drugify it, and that didn't work, but there was other
Yeah.
things that were wrong that were driving how bad things were. And there's so much more understanding now for
Mm.
myself. I don't know
Yes.
about you, but I understand
Yes.
myself more. So
Yeah.
in that, I can listen and hear more from her,
Yeah.
and understand her point of view when everything happened, and
Yes.
see it from that side. And that's what I didn't do back then. And there
Because
was
we're
that.
kids,
I was
right?
such a
And you were dealing with a lot.
hot mess back
So,
then,
yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think this episode here is all about what you're willing to accept from yourself, and also what
Yes.
you're kind of willing to accept from other people.
Ugh, you couldn't have said it better. Like, I have
That's
goosebumps.
that's
Yeah.
basically what this episode was about.
Yeah.
Because I know what I don't accept anymore. And when
Yeah.
somebody gets on that train track and my train's coming down the track,
Yeah. Hello.
I blew the whistle already, honey. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
if you don't
Right?
understand me, then I'm gonna just keep on coming. I'm like,
Exactly.
and I think you feel the same way that way right now,
I
you
do.
know, and we still have managed. If you have people, here's the way I assess myself now. I guess if I still have people that were in my life from like 40, 50 years ago,
Right? Yeah.
because I still
Me
have friends
too.
that I went to school with, that I still talk to,
Yeah.
that were
Yeah.
really close, I was close to, and they're all still there. So
Yeah.
I, I'm going to surmise that the fact that nothing was there, the years I spent thinking so many bad things about myself,
Yeah.
were probably only in my own head. And a lot of other people
Yes.
were kind of going, "Oh, I wish we would talk again," or "I wish we could have
Yeah.
this again," or, and then you get the
Yes.
opportunity to do that. And then you just relinquish everything and you go, "Okay, I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for this. I didn't want
Yes.
to, this was really rough." And I even apologized for my mother, like, because my
Yeah.
there's a
Caused
complicated story.
issues. Yeah.
And so I apologize for that. And I'm like, sorry that this happened, you know?
But then she sees you and she saw you then.
Yeah, yeah, for
I think
sure.
one of the most beautiful things you said is that she said that she loved you the moment she saw you.
She did
And
tell me this. She said, "I loved you when I saw you, and I love you now." Yeah,
ugh,
yeah.
that's how I feel about Sid.
That's how I feel about her too.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that the toxic people that were preventing us from talking, her mother's really sick right now, and
Yeah.
she's not feeling well, and she's in the middle of a move, and we're kind of like
Yeah.
talking to each other a lot and catching up on this stuff, because now we got a second chance to be really good
Yeah.
friends to each other, like we were. We
Yes.
were that, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of course, we were kids and we were married and we had our
Yeah.
problems, and it was, Jack and Diane, right?
Life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life.
And it was life. And,
Yeah.
I led what they call, I guess, a heteronormative life for a while. I was
Yeah.
never normal, though. There was nothing normal about me. I don't know.
But
Nothing
it was
normal.
also very different, and that's why, as an elder, you paved the way,
Well,
like,
we
for
do,
kids.
like me and many others, like, that
Exactly.
did a lot more than I've ever done.
Yeah.
So, what's your final thoughts, besides the fact that this is about what we accept from ourselves and what we accept from other people?
From others. I'm grateful to have someone like you in my life that reminds me when I'm maybe not feeling the best that I am that person, and
Yeah.
it's important to have people
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
like
I'm
you.
I'm like that too. Like, everything.
Yeah.
And then I tell you things that perplex you and you think about them for 3 days and they bother you, and then you don't
And
tell
then
them
I
till
come
the 4th
back.
day. "Can you explain
Yeah.
this to me?" And I'm like, "Yes, I can."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
I appreciate that.
yeah, I I'm very grateful for our relationship too.
Me
Um,
too.
It's not. It's complicated, but it's not.
It is.
We
Yeah,
can make it as
I know.
complicated as we want, but we always get our way out of it. And
Because I think
that's,
we mirror each other in many ways, even though the situations are different.
yeah.
It seems like the themes that we experience are very similar. Anyways, I could keep talking, but
Oh, I know, and
we
it's
should.
104. I mean, people are
I know.
probably going, "Oh my god, I resonate with so much of this shit.
Yeah.
I can't stand this person, and that person on Facebook said that to me, and that's
Yes.
why I blocked them, and blah 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 blah." But this is what's happening, and but
Yeah.
even with my spiteful like resentment for being like attacked in my personal spaces by people,
Yeah.
I do understand that like there's a lot of like disruption going on right now, and
There
people are
is.
super sensitive, and sometimes we all need to step back, even myself and you and
Yeah.
everybody, and
And
say,
take a
okay,
breath.
take a breath before you do
Yeah.
this, or
Exactly.
but me, I'm at the point now where like my boundaries. Please don't, like, if you start pushing buttons when I'm not having a very good day. It was really rough the past week. It's been
It was. I know.
yeah, I
You were
post
going through it.
yeah, I was having some physical problems,
Yeah.
and really really hurting and having a lot of chronic pain,
Yeah.
and it because of all of reliving a lot of childhood trauma,
Yeah.
and like facing up to what happened early on and things like that, and then what happened later on was even worse. And so it's been really really tough over the past 10 days or so. Before
Yeah.
Cheryl and I talked, I
Yeah.
it was rough anyway. And then when she came along, I didn't know when my friend texted you and told you how beautiful you were and it made a difference
Yeah.
for you and you went out shopping,
Yeah.
she did the same thing for me,
Yeah.
and made me feel like, oh, relinquish all this bullshit that I had in my
All the
head about
noise.
myself and all of this
Yeah.
stuff. And she's like, I just want to be friends. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, so do I. And I'm like, but why
Yeah.
haven't we been? I'm like, oh,
I know.
my mother. That's
Yeah.
why. But my mother's not in the picture anymore.
Exactly.
She has managed to remove herself from my periphery. So,
And
you know,
sometimes that's the best thing.
and that's all I can handle. And
Yeah.
all the best to her. Hopefully she has a peaceful end to her life, because she certainly hasn't had a peaceful life. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way. I don't think so anyway, by her behavior. So,
Yeah.
this is very complicated. And I was very
Hesitant.
hesitant to talk about the wife,
I know,
because
because
when I talk
it
about the
kinda goes
wife,
into
I
it
have to
bleeds
talk
into.
about my mother because of the
Yeah.
massive complication that she caused and the
It's
corruption that
an
she caused
enmeshment.
and the things that she did. Oh, it
Yeah.
just becomes like, but now we're removing the trauma, which is her. And
And
then
that
all
makes
this,
all the difference.
and then
And
what's
then you
left is
keep
the
the
relationship
beautiful
we
parts.
had. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'll go
Yeah.
home and we'll hang out together and stuff like that. And, things will
Which
be
is
for the
amazing.
rest of our
Like, I
lives.
really
It'll be
couldn't
fine.
be
I,
happier for you.
I'm so much happier.
Yeah.
I'm so much happier to make peace with people.
Yeah.
It's so great to make peace with people, and it's so great to make peace with yourself. What's your final thought?
Yes. My final thought is that so I went through some weird things this week, and I think on our next X file or Z files, we'll talk about we'll talk about letting go of dark spirits and
Well, you know what?
exorcisms.
People love the X-Files, and
They do.
this is what people that are randomly texting you on the
I
internet
know.
don't understand. Do they know what I saw last week? Let's talk about that on the next episode.
We'll talk about that next
Because
time.
people do love the Z Files, by the way.
And we're just talking about stuff that we've experienced. We're not trying
Listen,
to.
girl, I'm telling you, people are gonna think we're psycho. But you know what? I've had a couple of people tell me I was psycho, and then the shit comes true. And I'm just wondering if those people that called me psycho
Still
might
think that.
feel a little bit ridiculous right now.
Probably a little different now.
Just saying, this the UFO stuff all came out, and I seen the goddamn thing like in my backyard, like long before it ever made the national news. It's like, oh, I seen that. That was hanging above the bedroom like 10 months ago. And then they're calling me a psycho. And it's like, I'm a psycho. Well, what about the government of the United States? I mean,
Exactly.
they just released all this footage of the thing that I saw and that grabbed a
I
hold of
know.
me. Like, I know what
Yep.
these things are. I've experienced them. So
Yep.
people are like really enthralled by this stuff, and they love
I,
the Z Files. So this next one,
next time.
oh, your mother sews socks in hell is going to be That's going to be the name of the next episode. Your mother sews socks in hell.
Sorry.
Okay. So how's that for
Yes,
you?
that
Let's
sounds
just
good.
put it to bed right here, so we don't have to think about it.
Exactly.
Because what was the name? The Sexorcist. Did you ever see it?
The Sexorcist. No.
It's a spoof of The Exorcist. Okay, so if you haven't seen it, Linda Blair is in it as an adult, and it's absolutely so funny. And I don't know whether you remember the original line she says in the original movie. It's not your
No.
mother sews socks in hell.
Oh, so that's where.
So
Okay.
in the spoof, she says your mother sews socks in hell, but in the original version, your mother's doing something else in hell.
Oh, okay.
That
Okay.
sounds like sews socks,
So
but
socks. Okay. Mhm. Wah, wah.
right. So this is what it is. So you
Yeah.
need to go watch. We're like 110 right now. This has been great.
Oh, it's
What another bitch fest is what it's been.
it really has.
Ah, it's like I'm so tired. I'm tired of people sometimes.
So am I.
It's like I just wish people would be nice and not confrontational and
I
just,
know.
especially
Why
the
can't
people
we
that,
just love each other
well,
and
I
have
don't
good
know.
energy and
That's a
like be
that's a good
happy?
it's a good point. But anyway, I love you.
I love you too.
All right, bye, girl. We need
Until
to
next
go.
time. I know. Okay.
Thank you, everybody, and don't leave a comment. We don't really want to read
Not
them.
on this one.
Not really. Okay.
Okay.
Bye, Cristie.
Bye.
And thanks for being here with us today.
If this episode resonated, share it with someone who might need it.
And remember,
Life bends us all.
see you next time.
And don't forget to comment.